not to retch. It would totally destroy the twine's effect. Sometime during their date, fresh, damp dirt and a little grass had smeared horizontally across her mouth and worked its way up into her nose. He left it there. That was a beautiful and poetic touch of nature, but the lip gloss? Disgusting. As he stood there at the foot of her body, staring into her face, her own eyes stared away from him and straight up into the sky, her lips still slightly parted, just as they had been in life, just as they had been at the zenith, that incredibly beautiful and intimate moment when she exhaled her last breath into the night. And as he relived that moment, it came to him in an epiphany. He decided, the left ring finger. Perfect. He squatted down and gently picked up her left hand. The wrist was still limp. He tied a single, perfect bow around her ring finger just before rigor set in, before the body went stiff and cold and hard. He placed the hand back, gently across her stomach. Backing away a few feet to take in the whole picture, finally he could relax. Every detail was exquisite. Finally he could get some sleep. The bow was perfectly symmetrical, and there in the moonlight, it was just gorgeous, almost like a wedding band. Atlanta, Georgia. The piercing eruption of a telephone startled Special Prosecutor Hailey Dean, still at her desk late on a Friday night preparing for Monday morning trial. It was probably Fincher, her longtime investigator and sometime bodyguard. Together they worked felony investigations from inner-city housing projects to this latest, which involved one of North Atlanta's elite country clubs. "District Attorney's Office, Hailey Dean speaking," she said absently into the receiver. The silence that greeted Hailey on the other end of the telephone line caught her attention. "Hello?" Still nothing. Realizing what was likely coming next, Hailey quickly reached for a notepad. "Hello?" she repeated, and waited for the recorded announcement that the call was from the prison. After she accepted the call, which she always did, an inmate would come on the line to offer information in exchange for a full dismissal of his own charges, or, at the least, a lighter sentence or a transfer to a better facility. As if a dismissal would ever happen. No way would Hailey go to hell to get witnesses to put a devil in jail. She said so up front to each and every snitch. Still, she'd talk, listening carefully, turning their tips into evidence in court, if she believed them. Then it would become necessary, like it or not, to cut some kind of deal. She had never broken a deal, and so far her snitches in turn had displayed a certain degree of decency. Not one had ever backed down on the stand, even when things got tense in the courtroom or behind jailhouse bars, where her informants lived day to day with the very defendants against whom they were testifying. In fact, Hailey often trusted her rats more than her fellow attorneys, whom she routinely fed with a long-handled spoon, keeping them safely at arm's length. "Hello?" she repeated into the phone, wondering if the call got dropped by the prison switchboard. It wouldn't be the first time. Silence. Just as she reached to hang up, she heard a faint, "Miss Hailey?" An older Southern woman was on the other end of the line, she realized, a woman who still functioned under the rules left over from the 50s that demanded a respectful "Miss." "Yes, hello?" Still nothing. "Can I help you, ma'am?" she asked, trying not to sound impatient, but she had a lot of work to do before she got out of here. "The DA's office is closed right now." "Excuse me for calling so late. This is Mrs. Leola Williams." Williams. Leola Williams. Hailey's mind whirred like a computer trying to place the name. "Lysandra was my first baby girl." Ah, connection. Leola Williams, as in Lysandra Williams, otherwise known as Victim 11. Hailey instinctively started taking notes on the pad, neatly writing V11 across the top of the page and underlining it. 11 women across Atlanta, all in their 20s, had been raped, sodomized, and strangled. As the coup de grace, each woman was stabbed with a deadly signature 4-prong weapon, piercing the lower back, moving upward through the lungs.